everybody. Good afternoon. Yeah, people are joining. Nice to see you. Hi, Gloria.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. Who is coming? Thomas, he's German from Spain. Hi, Thomas. Laia, she's from Barcelona. Maria, she's from Spain. Hi, Jose Marti. Hi, Jose, he's from Spain too. Hi, Thomas. Belle Palacios, I don't know her, but from her name, I think she's from Spain too. Sarah Dumont, I don't know who, maybe she comes from Sana and Candice Bosters. Where are you based, Candice?
I'm based in Belgium, Sylvia.
Okay, nice to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
Hi, Maria. This is great. Okay, I would say we are people are joining, but we start to be on time. Yes. First of all, I'm going to explain the HR International HR Talks. Oh, this is me there. I'm double, Sylvia Taudin, Sylvia Taudin. Hi, Yolanda. Yolanda has my name.
Yeah, I see it now. It's weird.
Doesn't matter. It's my clone. It's my clone. Okay. The International HR Talks is a format that we started beginning of this year. We are addressing to a global community. It's always in English, and it's mostly directed to the HR community and the C-level community. Some topics regarding HR, people management, the new ways of working after pandemic, what is really going on in the world. And so for me, it's a really big honor to say hello to Sana Afouaiz. Sana was one of our top speakers in the 4th International HR Conference in the Torre Telefonica. This was in 2017, wasn't it, Sana?
Yes, indeed.
And she impressed, I think Thomas was there too. Yes, Thomas? Yeah, you saw Sana.
You're right, yeah.
Yeah. And hi, Peter. Hi, nice to see you. Hi. And so Sana is an outstanding young woman. She's Moroccan. You're going to present yourself, but she's a gender award, a gender entrepreneur. She's helping people all over the world, and especially in the Middle East, to build up their own companies or to boost their empowerment in companies. She's giving by international programs chances to women. She wrote a book to make the invisible women in the Middle East. Yes, and we are not talking about very well developed Middle East countries, also countries like Morocco. You have been to Lebanon in the last times. You tell us about this, Sana, yeah? And we are collaborating together in Middle East now, hopefully for women programs in Dubai and in Saudi Arabia. And yes, Sana, so we open our mind and our ears and our heart to listen to you and to share with you your title about robots and diversity. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. Thank you for having me. Thank you everyone for being here. I hope I will honor the introduction that the lovely Sylvia has given to me, and I hope you will enjoy the topic of today. So let me first share with you my screen. Perfect. So my name is Sana Afouaiz. I am Moroccan. I live in Belgium. I moved here in 2016. But before that, I had the chance to work in different countries, 50 countries in total. My journey started when I was very young. I was 10. And I think I've always been curious. I was questioning everything around me. And I come from an environment where women's future has been designed for them. So usually women around me are women who are married at an early age. At the age of 18, your dream job is to get married and have kids. And for me, I was very unsettled with that. I always questioned it. I was not comfortable. And I felt like we as women, we have so much to give and so much to do. And I burst myself into reading. I spent my days in library, just reading and reading. So I discovered Simone de Beauvoir, I discovered Fatima al-Mernissi, Durriya Shafiq. For those who don't know them, they are one of the biggest feminists out there in the Arab world and in the West. And I also burst myself into biology somehow. I was very much interested in human biology and animal biology. And as a kid, unfortunately, I didn't have the right orientation to think about what I want to do in the future. The only thing I knew is that I wanted to get my education. I was certain of that. And I was certain that I wanted to get a job and be financially independent. And my mother has always told me that your key of freedom is your education. So because I was very much touched by everything happening around me, including and especially what's happening to women, I wanted to change the laws. So I said, I'm going to study political science. And I did study political science. I have a master's degree in political science, political communication, and governance. And I think it was the biggest mistake of my life. Had I known what I've known today, I wouldn't have studied political science. I think I would have definitely studied technology. And I will tell you why afterward. So my background started as an activist in Morocco, where I basically collected stories of women who have been discriminated by law. And I started writing stories about them in a completely short blog, writing stories about these women and writing how the law, the power of law could use as a tool to discriminate against women. Slowly then, I was invited to the US to speak about my work and also to talk about the impact of the Arab Spring and women's movement. And then I started working as consultant for international organizations. I traveled to 50 countries. I was always focusing on women leadership, women economic empowerment, and women in the law. In 2016, I decided to create Womenpreneur, which is an organization based in Brussels today. We are active in 23 countries, and we have so far empowered and trained 16,000 women. So today, I felt it would be interesting for me to share with you a very important subject, which is diversity in the digital age. I believe that most of you are running companies, maybe companies in digital, maybe companies in innovation. And even if you are not active in this field, in the next future, you will be forced to be active in technology. You will be forced to use technology to manipulate technology. So I wanted to kind of attract your attention into the topic of diversity and digital transformation through a gender lens. So basically today, data is everywhere. You need data to get you to your home, to get to your work. If you have an appointment, I'm sure, even though if you are born, let's say in Barcelona, I don't think that you know by heart all the streets. You need your GPS, you need your phone, you need Wi-Fi to actually find and navigate your way into the area you want to go to. So data today is basically all these bytes and all these numbers and all this information that facilitate your life to go to somewhere or to find time. It's incorporated in most of our technologies today. I mean, our phones, our computers, the alarm technology is everywhere. It has helped us also to build very smart, beautiful cities as well around the world. I don't know if you've been to Singapore, but it's one of the most impressive places I've been to. And this country has been built by technology. If you look into this country, it has nothing in terms of resources. It's all about the power of technology that has been used effectively. Technology helps us also to make payments. I mean, I don't know about 50 years before how people would make payments, but definitely I don't think they would make it as it is today. I mean, within few seconds, you can make payments, your bank payments, you can make, your mortgage payments, you can buy stuff online and you'll get it immediately a few days afterward. So within few seconds, technology has helped us to make payment across the board. Technology also helps us on a daily level and daily life to make choices, including food. If you go to the supermarket, you can use some of those applications that actually show you what are the best ingredients, whether any type of food that you're buying is bio or not. It helps you to make the choices depending on your diet. So technology does help us also when it comes to food. So data is everywhere. Technology is everywhere. I mean, we have evolved so far that today we are dependent on technology. I will give you a simple example. if I give you this calculation to make, could you make it without using your phone or your computer, without using, any electronic calculations? I don't think so. I think you will definitely use your phone to check exactly what is the result. So this means that, our brain is very much dependent on technology. I would like also to ask you this question. If you know where is Bangalore, without using Google, who knows where it is?
It's in India.
Okay,
it's IT capital in India.
Yes, indeed. Yes, it is the capital of India in the south. Thank you. Well, we have one who is very much well informed. But usually, there are a lot of things that we don't know, and then we would say, the famous sentence, "I will Google it." So basically, technology is almost kicking us out of our, I would say, our normally daily duties that we used to do, that we used to master. Today, we rely on technology. We rely on robots to do these things for us. And this is part of evolution, and that's okay, because we as human societies have managed to evolve on every level. So we have created tools that facilitates our life, but somehow we are becoming dependent on it. Now, the question is, where are women in this digital revolution? This is the biggest question that I would like us to take attention into it. Where are women? I don't know if you know about this story of Amazon, a recruitment process, a robot that has been created in 2014. Basically, Amazon decided to create a robot algorithm that facilitates to navigate and to facilitate the process of recruitment. The objective is that the robot will make the best selection of different candidates that would receive. So basically, the robot was selecting every time a middle-aged white man, and out of 90% of the profiles has been always the same kind of profiles: white man, middle-aged, white man, middle-aged. So Amazon started asking questions. What's happening with the robot? Why are we receiving almost the same profiles? Well, when Amazon did the research, at the end of the day, the tool has been created by a human. And unfortunately, our stereotypes have been incorporated in the robot. And then they discovered that actually the robot has been functioned in the way that the only eligible and the perfect candidates are white men. So this is how the robot would make the selection. You look into the different profiles and boom, a white man is chosen. Do you know James Damore? Does anyone know James Damore? No. James Damore, he used to be a former engineer working at Google. He wrote a memo called Google Ideological Echo Chamber. I would really encourage you to read it today, out of curiosity and since you are running and you are the responsible for human resources in these different companies, I would really appreciate if you could take a minute and read this very interesting memo. So basically, James Damore, he was stating and explaining why there are very few women in technology. Not because companies are discriminating against women, not because educational opportunities are not available to women. He basically explained it because of the biological inheritance of women. Simply that women are not capable in being in technology because simply their biology doesn't allow them to think bigger or to be able to run a tech position. James Damore has received a backlash and Google has fired him afterwards, but this is an engineer who worked for one of the biggest companies out there. We use Google on a daily basis. He's one of those engineers on the background who is basically making all the algorithm work for us. So then you can imagine how the impact of his vision on women, his perception has impacted women's discrimination on a daily basis in Google, inside Google, but also outside. Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, there was this application that has been developed called Abshir. Abshir means inform in Arabic. Upshare is an application. If you look into the objective behind it, it's very, very good. I mean, Saudi Arabia is entering the digital age. The objective is to facilitate everything through technology to its citizens. So as a user, you can basically renew your passport. You can renew your ID card. If you are looking for any administrative paper, you can do it within few seconds through the application. Now, what happens as a female user, when you create your account, the application will just send all the information to your husband, to your father, to your son, and to your brother, which means that they are aware of all your whereabouts. If you're going to renew your passport, if you're going to renew your ID card, they will know about it. But also, the dangerous part of it is that the male guardian can stop you from renewing your passport because they can basically deny your permission. This is through a technology. This is through an application. And the funny thing, but also the sad thing in the story is that Google has supported Upshare and has facilitated its access through its platforms. And when it was created, there has been 3 million user accounts created. So this shows that how big companies could also be part of the problem and could be part of why women are discriminated in different countries. The US. I'm not going to talk about the elections and how Trump has manipulated algorithms to win the elections, but I will talk on a different completely subject, which is basically concerning the medical field. So in the US, health applications, they are developed basically using certain data. And this data is done on the military staff that works for the US. Now, if we look into the military staff that is working for the US, usually in a big majority are men, which means that women are very, very minority. And that means that it's not relevant to actually come up with a pill or to come up with a health application or a health device, because basically the female data is so limited that you cannot make a concrete product or a service out of those data. Well, on a daily level and on annually level, big medical companies are developing services, devices, pills, using the data that are male data. And that's why a lot of women have been getting a lot of health issues or different pills that are not very convenient with their bodies because of the data that we use. COVID, and I would like now to talk about Asia, and we will go to South Korea. So during COVID, different countries have developed alerts, corona alerts. I'm sure that in Spain you have it as well. The objective is very simple, to really kind of navigate people who have COVID and make sure that, to limit contacts with other people in order to make sure that people don't get affected and don't get the COVID. So there was this conspiracy theory that actually most of the people who have COVID happen to be women. So this conspiracy theory is that women have created COVID. And since then, there has been serious harassment through on a daily level on social media, on physical harassment, physical mistreatment by men toward women because they believe that actually COVID has created by women. Again, this is by using a simple application, a technology tool. Language and machine. I would like to attract your attention to something very important. I would like you also to kind of do this exercise with yourself. I'm going to show you some words and some images. And what is the first thing that comes to your mind, whether it's female or male? When I say a doctor, what is the first thing that comes to your mind, the image that comes to your mind? And you have to be honest with yourself. This is an exercise that you need to do because we as humans, we have our own interior sexism and biases and stereotypes. So when you see doctor, there is a study that has been done. Usually people will think of a man with a white coat. They wouldn't think of a doctor woman. A nurse, is usually thought of a woman, a female who is a nurse. This picture, if we look into this picture, would you think that the person who's cooking is a woman or a man? And then if we're looking into racing cars, do you think the person who's behind the wheel is a woman or is a man? You don't need to answer, but I'll let you do that exercise with your own self. Now, before doing this session, I tried to kind of use Google. I mean, Google has received a lot of backlash when it comes to discrimination, when it comes to sexism, when it comes to a lot of different issues. And I was like, Google will do the effort to kind of change its algorithm and make it, sufficient. So I wrote women should. And here I can see women should be prime and proper and women should not. And then I tried to kind of use the clouds, word clouds. I wanted to see if I use some words, how many female words I would receive and how many masculine words I would receive. So I put leadership and I had kind of, linked it to some other words like boss, powerful, assertive, accomplished. So you can find here, you have 169 words for a man when it comes to leadership, and you have only 31 when it comes to women. This is word clouds. And I'll ask each one of you to do this exercise after this session. You can open any word cloud and you can use any type of word and see how many masculine words you will find and how many female words you would find. So now if you look into the words themselves, I mean, here you have productive, you have combative, you have decisive, you have capable, you have charismatic, succeed, humble, you have merciful, you have confident, you have a boss. This word explains men. Now, if we look into women, well, we have empowered, which is nice, but we have jealous, we have expressive, we have overbearing, we have opinionated, we have attentive, we have timed, we have responsive, we have sympathetic, and we have passionate. So you can see that the words are very different. You see like more power when you look into the words that are associated with men. And of course, you can see that the list goes on and goes on for men, and it stops for women after persuasive. So what do we do as womanpreneur to basically tackle this issue on a daily level? Our mission as womanpreneur is to make sure that women are empowered economically in emerging economies. Our objective is to help women to create companies, projects that are tech-driven, innovation-driven, but also we help women to acquire new skills and to find a job in emerging fields. So here you can see some pictures of our concrete work. As I mentioned earlier, we have supported and trained 16,000 women since 2016, and we have been active in 23 countries. And next year we are going to embark in new countries, including in sub-Saharan Africa, where we're going to implement new projects. So our strategy is basically working on two levels, entrepreneurship and job creation. So when it comes to entrepreneurship, we support women to use technology on a daily level. They don't have to become tech entrepreneurs or engineers. They can just manipulate technology. They can use technology to be visible, to acquire new clients, new consumers, to grow their business, and also to grow their critical thinking, the vision that they have for their businesses, to adapt to the changes of the market on a daily level. And then we have the other component of our work is job creation. So we have three main training programs where we help women to acquire new skills and find a job. So we have, like these pictures can show, we have a training where we teach women to repair phones and tablets. And we also have training on artificial intelligence for women. And the other training we have is on web jobs. So everything related to website development, application development, graphic design, and digital marketing. We train women in these fields, and we help them to do trainerships and internships at the different companies, and then they can find a job. So here are some of the pictures of our work. And this is the picture from one project in Lebanon. As you can see here, these amazing ladies, there are two of them in white. They are entrepreneurs working in education tech. Basically, they have developed the first educational platform for Arab countries, where students can be connected to their teachers using this platform to learn faster by using artificial intelligence. And here we have another picture of one of a great entrepreneur we work with. She is basically focusing in tech agriculture, and she's active in different countries in the region. So this is what we do at our work. But the question is also, what can you do? As each are responsible, or even if you are running your own company, you have a role to play. You are not shaping only the future of your company as, you know, on an individual level, but you are actually contributing today to shaping the future, shaping the society. We are connected more than we can ever think of, more than we can ever, you know, imagine. And we're going to be connected even more in the future. We do have common challenges: digital transformation, climate change, political instability, economic crisis. You can see now, euro and the dollar that are almost the same. So I think that this should reflect on your responsibility on individual level and on collective level. We all have a role to play. And trust me, we don't have to wait for Elon Musk to make the change. We don't have to wait for the CEO of Facebook to make the change, or the CEO of Google. Each one of us can make a change on individual level, and we can see a bigger impact. Now, if we look into the tech sector, and I felt like it was important for me to share with you this statistics. Now, if we look how many, the origin of the people hired in the big high-tech sector, we have a big part of it from 63.5 to 68.5% are men who are white. And then if we look into the origin, Asian Americans are recruited in these high-tech sectors from 5.8 to 14%. Men, as you can see as a whole, they remain the biggest part, 52 to 64%. Very small share of African Americans, who are from 14.4 to 7.4%. Hispanic, 13%, and then you have women, 36%. So you can see that the tech field has been dominated by one group, which is white men. So basically, your responsibility is actually to walk the talk. Put your money where your mouth is. Make sure that you are not only, approaching diversity as a hot topic because it's very nice, it's very, trendy, but make sure that you're doing the concrete actions, because we all agree that diversity is just a richness for every company. It helps you grow, not only on revenue level, but also the way that people think. I mean, if you put in a room someone from Africa, someone from India, someone from the US, someone from Europe, and you put them together, I'm sure that they would create a product that is inclusive, that is diverse, that is innovative. Because these people have lived in different backgrounds, have different experiences, have different perceptions, but also they have different views of the future. So basically, you're creating revolution when you have this diversity in your team. And I would dare you, if you put one team that is, extremely just from one background, I think the product will be boring. It might be good, but it might be boring. So make sure that you appreciate the diversity and you see it on a bigger scale. And the best thing to do is to invest in human resources. 20 years from now, you're not going to find talents. And basically, you will need to invest in your human resources. You need to make sure that you are doing the right work into making sure that your human resources are in the right place. You're going to spend more of time on, dealing with robots, dealing with machines. So somehow the human touch will be missing. So you need to make sure that you invest in that. Also, it's important to run mentorship programs to stimulate and to develop and to grow diversity. Diversity cannot be just in having few numbers, 5 people, of diversity background, and that's it. Boom, we have the right diversity in the company. It doesn't work like that. You have to make sure that you run mentorship program where you put senior people in collaboration, in contact with people who are junior, who are working from diversity background, and make sure that people in the top see what diversity is doing in the back down. It's very important that to create that kind of connections in order for the company to run in the right way. You're not going to find talent, you need to create it. In the next years, I don't know if you've read about a very important book of Yuval Harari, sorry. He is an amazing historian, writer. He has wrote Demos, which is basically follow-up book of Homo sapien book, quite famous one. And basically he's explaining that in 10 years and 20 years from now, we will have a big part of our population that will be useless, which means that it's going to be a population that you cannot train, you cannot give it a job, because basically machines will replace them. So if you want to avoid that, it's time for you to create the talent. More and more companies are realizing that, they cannot always find the right talents in universities, because today we have some immersion industries where we actually don't know how to master them. We don't know how to actually deal with them. And we have seen also like governments today, they are struggling to put up a legislation on how to control Bitcoin, how to control blockchain. So we are living in evolving environment, evolving markets. So tomorrow you are not going to find the talent. You are not going to an agency and ask, okay, I need this the type of profiles, can you find them to me? You will also have to play that role of developing the talent, training the talent. So make sure that today the stuff that you have could be your future diamond. So make sure that you invest in them and you train them and you update their knowledge on a daily basis. Make sure that you hire diversity managers. It's not enough to say, okay, we're going to put in place a policy of diversity. I need to see it in order for me to become it. And I'm not saying that you have to just hire someone who's Black or he's Arab or he's, Hispanic. You need to make sure that you hire someone who's competent, but of diverse background. I mentioned to you earlier that when I was little, my environment, all the women I've seen around me, at the age of 18, they were getting married and having kids. So for me, it was the only role model that I've seen. If I didn't spend all the time at the library to read books, to be curious, to kind of imagine something bigger than that, I wouldn't be here today and I wouldn't be in front of you talking to you about diversity and gender in the future. It's very important to create role models. I can only become it if I can see it. Make your staff tackle important social issues. Companies today, I really believe that it's no longer about just making money. It's about also making change, making impact. We are going more into the direction of social business. We are so greedy as humans, and we've seen what we have done. We have to salute ourselves because we have changed humanity. Before we used to be gather hunters, and today we have created things that are bigger than ourselves. But we need to make sure that we control our greed, and we make sure that we actually think about what is the future society that we want to create. What is the type of humanity we want to leave to our children? Because today, the only things that make us different is that we have emotional intelligence. And we are capable of communicating and cooperating in a big masses. Beside that, robot has taken over. So let's play on that. Let's make sure that the gift that we have today that make us different, that make us special, should be used in the right way. Make sure that you have your plan of diversity 5-10 years from now. Where do you want to see the company? What kind of issues, injustices, inequalities you want your company to tackle? how your company will look like 10 years from now. Is it going to be still a company where you have only 13% of women, only 5% of people from diverse backgrounds? Or do you want it to be this inclusive society, company that is not only making a mark in the world, but also is walking the talk? Use the power of data, technology, and partnership. Use the power of data. You need to make sure that you actually do your analysis inside your company. Make sure you do surveys, ask your staff, how do they feel, how they see diversity, what kind of vision they have for the company, because today your company is no longer about just the board of directors. Your company is your staff as well. You can make them your partner of change, partner of growth. And make sure that your staff is inclusive enough so that they can develop inclusive technologies. Technology is a tool, and it should remain a tool. Unless we make sure that this tool is inclusive enough, we're going into the right direction. But if we give the power to very minority, like 10%, we're going to end up with a lot of inequalities in the future. I'd like to conclude this discussion by saying that we need to decide on our humanity before machines do that for us. Machines should be just tools. It should not be the decide kind of part or power over what's going to happen in our future. I'd like to share with you this picture. These are monkeys. They are very beautiful monkeys, as you can see in the picture. But what I like about Kiki monkeys is that they are very cooperative. There is no hierarchy in their group. Everyone helps the other. So if one of the little monkeys are in hunger, they want to eat, one of the other groups will go and find food for them and will feed them. And what's beautiful in their group is that there is this no hierarchy, which make it the best cooperative animals out there. Although we have surpassed the animals, we have done way too much, and we have evolved. I think there is so much we can still learn from animals. So maybe Kiki monkeys could be one of those examples. Thank you for having me.
Okay, a very, very big applause for Sana.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sana, really. Of course, you can go to bed every night and you feel well because you are helping so many women, 16,000, and you're already still young. So you are doing a really impact, and you feel very proud of what you're doing, because you are impacting in 16,000 lives until now. This is really beautiful what you're doing, very beautiful. I really would love to go to one of these projects to you in the middle. You invite me and I come with you. Really.
Thank you so much, Sophia.
Very great. Okay, sure, your mother is very proud of you.
I hope so.
Yeah, sure. Okay, Sana, you were talking about a lot of things about technology, how technology is changing our lives and women's lives, and that really studying technology and women entrepreneurs who are coming from technological backgrounds. We need so much these profiles and we don't find them, yes, because as a headhunter, you know, always our clients ask, please, if it could be a woman, I would really appreciate it. Yeah, in C-level position, a manager position, and technological positions, but sometimes you really don't find them. Yeah. Not because women don't want, but they are living in their, in a little bit their silos. For example, family, they can't travel that much for a global position, or they are just not trained for a technological position. Yeah. Okay. Good. Who wants to start? Who has some questions? Maybe Jose Marti. Jose Marti, and then Cherry. Jose and Cherry. Okay. Jose has a question. Sure.
I've not followed the full presentation, so maybe I'm not the right person to.
Okay. Sorry.
To start with the questions. So sorry, Sylvia.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, okay. Later, you have a question. Sherry, thank you, Jose. Sherry, I'm really happy to see you. Nice that you're
Nice to
joining
be
us.
here.
A lot
Yes.
of time we haven't been in touch. Okay, Sherry, your question, please, or your
Well,
comment.
so yeah, I'm here from Canada. You, of course, are
Canada.
from all over the world, everybody here.
Mm.
But looking at this, Sana, are there countries who are doing a better or a worse job, or are we all, I mean, I see the problems here in Canada with, literally as a recruiter, people going, well, I want a man and I want this and I want that and I want the other thing. And that's being asked for, not, how do I say it? Very, very surreptitiously, because there's a feeling that this isn't the right thing to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. So please, don't say anything to anybody else, but I want a certain type of person in this position. I don't want anybody from another country. Whatever. I don't want this age. All of these things I'm hearing. Is this normal? Is it unusual? Am I in a country that's really creating a lot more problems than we're solving?
Thank you so much, Sherry, for very important question. I mean, when we look into what we are doing so far when it comes to women in these technical, innovative fields, I will give you an example that maybe would be shocking for all of you here. But the first region in the world that is doing good when it comes to women in tech, in STEM in general, education, is the MENA region, the Middle East, North Africa.
Middle East. Wow.
So they have the highest number of women studying STEM. Marruecos, is the first country in the world that has the highest number of female engineers. Then when you look into the workplace, the workforce, these women are invisible.
Yeah.
Why? Because of the culture that is conservative, because of the norms. I mean, you wouldn't want to see a woman working with men in on a minefield or in engineering, space, because at the end of the day, she's a woman. She has certain requirements to fit in. And this, although it could be like very conservative in this type of the region, but I can see it here in Europe as well. Here in Belgium, we're very active as well. And some of the women we work with who come to us because they want to become entrepreneurs have, STEM degrees. And I'm like, you have biotechnology degree. What are you doing here? Why do you want to create a cookie shop in the corner of the street, And she'll be like, I couldn't balance between my professional life and my personal life. And the best way for me to kind of make sure I have both is to make that sacrifice and, become entrepreneur gives me flexibility. So unfortunately, there is something that we need to do with the mindsets, not only of companies, but of as individuals, humans in general. I think the social roles that have been given to both men and women impact also our choices when it comes to our professional lives. And unless we do this effort collectively, we're going to face serious discrimination in the workplace. I mean, today with the COVID, it has accelerated basically the gender gap in the workplace. A lot of women are becoming unemployed today. Here in Belgium, we have every day high number of women who are losing their jobs. And if you look into the MENA region, about 1.7 million of jobs have disappeared during COVID, and 47% of these jobs are done by women. So unfortunately, women represent, well, not unfortunately, but women represent more than 50% of the world population. Unless we do the right work, we're going to face endless discrimination. And I think it's the mindset that we need to dig into it, like really changing the roots of our thinking, of our perception, and also the way people see their jobs. It's not, I mean, I keep saying to the people we work with, the women we work with, please don't consider your job a 9 to 5 p.m. job. Don't do that. We spend more time working. Your job is your art. It's the way you speak to the world. it's the way you make change. It's the revolution that you're making. It's like, you know, you are the Martin Luther of today. So your job is beyond, you know, just having a salary at the end of the month. It's your touch, it's the legacy that you leave behind you. And I think the more, the more we highlight this, if companies make sure that they speak to their staff in this way, the more they realize that they're doing something bigger than themselves. I mean, today, people are driven by mission. They're driven by social impact. They are driven by, you know, social justices. So it's no longer about having a job, especially with the young generation. This generation is complicated. They want to have an impact. They want to make sure that, you know, when they leave their work, they will say to their friends, oh, I'm working in the best company. They are, you know, helping people in Ukraine. They're helping people in marginalized countries. So I think it's a wake-up call for companies. And if we look into the big companies like Microsoft, Google, Facebook, they are trying to catch up.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Sana. Sherry, could you please repeat what you told about Canada? I didn't catch it at all. What's happening in Canada?
We're still getting requests for specific people to fill roles. And in some cases, I can see it. And in some cases, I can't. But I find, you know, age is one thing. Sex is another thing. Another element is the race. You know, I don't want a new Canadian. I want somebody who's been here, blah, blah, blah. You know, there's all these things that we're still experiencing, and it shocks me.
So you're not advanced in equality, diversity, no?
I would love to say we are, but the reality, no.
This is surprising. I thought that USA and Canada are more or less the same in gender equality. But did you know that, Sana?
Well, I was very much aware that North America, they have a lot of work to do when it comes to not only gender equality, but also diversity as a whole. And that actually has been triggered by also the Black movement. And basically a lot of companies started doing campaigns to make sure that they change their leadership. I mean, what I can say is there is the awareness. We are in the awareness phase. But action, I mean, it will take time, but it should be quick because our societies are really facing a lot of challenges today. So therefore, companies need to kind of invest in diversity. Today, diversity is investment. So I'm actually not shocked by the statement of Sherry. I was in the US and I've noticed that, like in person, I've noticed that there is still the white who's governing. So
yeah, interesting. Any more questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, Gloria.
Hi, Sana. Thanks a lot for your presentation. So you mentioned as well the diversity managers. You said that companies should try to invest and hire these managers, and we know that many companies are doing that. But I want to ask you, on your point of view, since you've been on the field, you've been talking to these women, what would be your advice to these managers? Because they enter the field, it's a hot topic right now. You know, there's a lot of resilience, a lot of people who don't believe at their programs. The business, sometimes it's not on the same level and does not believe that much. So what would be your advice to these diversity, inclusion, equity managers to really reach that transformation and that change?
Yeah, thank you so much, Gloria, for a very important question. Just because they are managers doesn't mean that, you know, they have to stop learning. I think they have to be trained, and definitely they have to be coached by people who are experts in the diversity field. It's you know, it's a whole process that should be implemented to look into the policy of the company. What is the diversity policy? Make sure that these managers are trained enough to deal with it, to have a clear process 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now. Make sure that you run surveys on diversity on a yearly basis, on a monthly basis, on kind of, you know, depending on your priorities. Make sure also that there is a process when you hire managers. I mean, you want to hire managers, and I kind of insisted you should not just hire someone who's Indian just because he's Indian or she's Indian to the position. You need to make sure that actually the manager is aware of the topic. So I think it's an investment of training that the company should do to make sure that they have the right people in the right position. And once you have that, they will do the job.
Interesting. Thank you, Sana. I would like to add a comment. In Germany, for example, equality, diversity, inclusion is still underrepresented. It's not a very well-developed country. Comparing, for example, to Spain, we can see a difference. Yeah. Anyway, in Germany, what you have in diversity, age is not a problem as in Spain, for example. I don't know in MENA region, but in Germany, we can see that big companies like Siemens are not trying to kick out people older than 60. On the other way around, they are giving talent retention programs for people older than 65 years old because they want to maintain the real knowledge in the companies. And Germany is very well prepared for the demographic change, and they see there is no talent anymore in the future. And so you have to invest in the seniors, no, in the company. I think this is very important in diversity too, the senior knowledge, not only gender.
Of course, definitely. I mean, there are different layers of diversity again. Gender is just one of the components. And I mean, this is one of the points that I discuss a lot with the companies I work with. I keep saying that, people of over 60, it's the library of the company. You want to make sure that knowledge is used. And that's why it's important to create this intergenerational mentorship programs. Someone who's like almost going to retire could coach someone who's, in a junior position, or someone who's going to become a manager. That knowledge transfer is super important. Yes. Because at a certain moment, the person will leave afterward. So I think an intergenerational mentorship is very important.
Yeah. For example, to add, we had a session 1 month ago with a female leader from university in Asia. She was from China, and she told us that in China, in Asia in general, age is not a problem. On the other way around, they want people, very knowledge people, like in the States, a real good coach, executive coach in the States or in Asia has to be at least 60 plus or more even, yeah. And there are some people in Spain offering their coaching services for 25, and this is not feasible, of course. It doesn't fit. It depends on which kind of coaching is, but for an executive coaching, not. But in Asia, there is no gender policies at all. There is still a lot of sexual harassment, and nobody does anything against it in all Asia. Asia. A lot of
and that's very alarming.
Yeah,
it's very alarming.
Okay, any more questions?
Hi, Sylvia. This is Candice.
Hi, Candice.
It wasn't a question. I mean, I raised my hand when Sana was responding to Gloria's question around how to make these diversity managers successful. There is one thing, having been a CHRO for many years. One thing that I've noticed, Sana, and I don't know if the audience agrees, but you can put all the training in it that you want, but if the CEO and your exec team is not bought into it and is very clearly having a clear diversity statement with very accurate do's and don'ts, what it means to them as a company, honestly, you can put all the training in the world against it. It's not going to move the needle, in my experience. Everything comes with a buy-in and a clear commitment. Is just one addition I wanted to make.
I definitely join you into that point, Candice. Thank you so much for highlighting it. Definitely, it's very important that diversity vision or philosophy should be clear for everyone. Different groups, seniors, juniors, HR. I worked with one company here in Belgium. It's one of the biggest companies in everything related to infrastructure, telecommunication. And they told me that they are suffering because they only have 5% of women in the company. This company existed since the creation of Belgium, because Belgium has been created, you know, in 1883. So it's one of the companies that actually made Belgium rich. And I sat with them, I said, okay, I said, like, I want to spend one day in your company. I'm not gonna talk to anyone, I'm just going to observe. So I went, I took my computer. The first thing I did is I opened my computer, I opened the page of the website. What I found in the website, you open it, you find white man, 60 years old, wearing, you know, customs, you know, they're very professional, they're not smiling. The face is like, you know, like very masculine, very angry face. And I looked into different sections of the website. I couldn't find one woman. And then I went around and then I looked into different rooms. The few women who are working for the company, even when you walk in the rooms, they are always cold. So you see them with different blankets. Because the biology of man is very different than that of the women. Men, they have bigger hearts. Women have smaller hearts. So basically, the body of a man can create, you know, warmth more than women. So when you look around, you see like already it's very uncomfortable for women. They're sitting there with their blankets and like they're shivering from cold. And the man is in with his t-shirt and working, and everything is fine. And then you see the woman in the corner of the room, like alone or with one of her colleagues. So that already shows that the company is not doing the investment in creating the right physical environment for women. And then it was lunchtime, and I went to kind of see what's happening in the kitchen. You will be very surprised. It was the female staff who would warm the food for their male colleague. So the woman who's doing the mother job at the workplace. And it's not like the male colleague asked them to do so. It was like they suggested, oh, I'm going to warm your food for you if you want. Yeah. So there is different layers of issues to tackle. One is the investment that the company should do. I mean, the first thing you start with is your website. Your website is your image. It's your LinkedIn. I mean, if I don't see diversity there, I don't think I'm going to work there. And second, make sure that you create the right environment space for your staff, men, women, others, whatever, you know, you need to make sure that you create the right physical space for them. And then you need to work on creating the mindset. I mean, we are product of society. We come from different backgrounds. I am Moroccan, you are Spanish, we have Sherry from Canada. We don't think alike. We come with a package. So unless we question it, unless we examine it, unless we create this type of opportunities to talk, not only about business making money, but talk about these issues, we are not going to realize that sometimes we are the one who are blocking ourselves from achieving progress, achieving, you know, impact.
Mm-hmm. Sana, we really appreciate your insights, and it was absolutely, as always, absolutely interesting and amazing. We are running out of time. You will have the link for if you want to see it again, the recording. And thank you so much, Sana, and see you very soon in person.
Yes.
Okay.
See you.
Bye-bye,
Thank you, everyone. Thank
have
you.
a good afternoon. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining. Bye.